Let's dive right in because we have a lot to cover. So, IBS is irritable bowel syndrome. It affects 15 to 20% of the population, so we've got a pretty significant amount of people affected by IBS. And it's a really hard condition, for lack of better words, to try to manage, and it can be a really off-putting one. And I have a lot of friends and family that are affected by IBS. So, doctors say that the most important things and it's obvious, with IBS would be dietary changes, stress management, different techniques such as maybe hypnotherapy for IBS, and serotonin antagonists. There's certain medications that do that. I try to stay away from medications as a general rule. There's plenty of natural herbs that can do the same, 5-HTP, to help with your just stabilizing and also supporting your serotonin. So, diet alone will alleviate 90% of the side effects or the issues that you're having with IBS. Causes of IBS, as I just said, are diet, stress, menstrual cycles, heat, and humidity are big triggers, as well as if you're not getting enough sleep. The biggest things you want to stay away from is red meats, pork, beef of all kinds, lamb, they're really difficult for the body to digest, and they're very high in fat, which is why they're such a big trigger. Now, with poultry, you can have poultry, it's fine, but you need to stay away from dark meat and skin. So make sure that you're removing the skin and you're not having dark meat, because what happens is it's fattier, the skin and the dark meat. And in addition, you want to make sure that you're sticking to organic chicken, because the hormones that get pumped into commercial chicken are also huge triggers, and that includes with your eggs. Make sure you're getting organic, free range. I know it costs more, but in the long run, this is your health, and you're going to feel better. So we are trying to do the best we can to get rid of these triggers for you. Now, obviously, dairy, milk, butter, cheese are huge triggers, and whey. Whey is in a lot of protein shakes, so just be conscientious of it, or conscious of it when you're trying different protein shakes. This is all about getting to know your body better, and that could be a trigger if there's whey within the shake. I don't do well with dairy, and I don't do dairy often or very much. I'm okay with whey protein, so you're going to have to take this on a case-by-case basis. Now, what's really crazy is everyone, as we get older, over 65, osteoporosis for women is a huge problem. And what we're seeing is women over 65 that consume a lot of red meat and milk products actually have 35% of their skeleton lost to osteoporosis, versus women that eat very little dairy, or like hardly any dairy and hardly any red meat, only lose 7% of their skeleton. So this whole thing of milk and calcium, and you need it for that, we get calcium in a lot of other ways, and we're actually seeing osteoporosis kind of as, not as a result, but this is something that we really need to look at. And the more that you can avoid animal proteins, or at least decrease consuming animal proteins, also the sodium and the phosphate consumption, which is in soda, they are linked to osteoporosis as well. So again, we only have this body, so we need to do the best we can to take care of it. I touched on eggs already a little bit. Remove the yolks of the egg, and again, organic, free range, because those hormones that go into commercial eggs then go into your body and are triggers as well. The yolks have a very high fat content, which is what the trigger is. Fried food, huge trigger. Coconut milk, huge trigger because it's high in saturated fat. Oils, shortening, fats, butter, margarine, all triggers. Try to stay away from them. Solid chocolate, cooking, like cocoa is okay, but solid chocolate, stay away from that. Now, coffee. The thing with coffee is it doesn't matter whether it's caffeinated or not. It's actually something in the coffee bean that they have a certain enzyme that causes cramps, and caffeine is okay, but I would go with something like a green tea over a coffee. So, alcohol, obviously a huge irritant. Carbonated drinks. The artificial sweeteners and the carbonation actually cause cramps and diarrhea and significant abdominal pain. Be careful with raw fruits and vegetables. I know, what are what's left at this point, but when you're thinking of blueberries, cherries, apples, grapes, peas, corn, bell peppers, celery, anything with a hard outer shell is actually an irritant as well. So if it's a fruit, consider peeling it. If it's a vegetable, consider cooking it. I know it's a lot to handle, or I guess there doesn't seem like there's a lot left, but cooking tomatoes makes them more acidic as well. So if you're having problems with tomatoes, it may be because they are cooked, it raises the acidic level, and that can affect your stomach. Don't eat on an empty stomach a few of these following things, right? Don't eat garlic, onion, leeks, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, or Brussels sprouts. Well, and that's on an empty stomach, right? So you can eat them, but you don't want to do it on an empty stomach, and that includes green salad. And this was the first thing that intrigued me, was the idea of people that I knew that couldn't have salad. I thought, what is there left? You can have salad, you can't do it on an empty stomach. So instead of having your salad first, maybe have your salad last. A general rule of thumb is if it's easy to mash, it's easy to digest, right? Bananas, sweet potatoes, yams, those kind of things. Try to stay away from grains. That's, gluten is a general rule, can be an irritant for a lot of IBS sufferers. Whole nuts are also an issue. Grinding helps. I personally add walnuts or almonds to my morning shake so it gets blended up so that it's finely chopped, and then you're not going to have those problems of breaking it down. Popcorn is a huge trigger, and fresh fruit juices, especially on an empty stomach because they're pretty acidic. So to just kind of break it down on the best things you can do, eat or consume a soluble fiber on an empty stomach. That's going to help coat your stomach and prepare you to eat. Chew really well and eat slow. When you eat slow and you take the time to really chew, what happens is that gets your stomach ready for the digestion and helps mix with the enzymes in the food to start breaking it down before it even has to go through the intestinal tracts. So you want to stay with smaller portions, eating more frequently, because again, when you get to that hungry stage and that empty stomach, you're more likely to have triggers versus having little snacks around or consuming small meals regularly. That's going to help a lot because it's not going to be as sensitive as when it's empty. Avoid cold foods and cold drinks on an empty stomach. Avoid gum. When you're chewing gum, you actually are also taking air bubbles down into your stomach. That can be an irritant for people. You want to also limit your water while you're eating. If you have too much water in a meal, that can actually inhibit the digestion because it's diluting a lot of the just the stuff that you need in your stomach to break food down. So you need to peel or skin your fruits, chop them up really well, cook your vegetables if you're really sensitive to it. Have egg whites, take out the yolk. Take a daily multivitamin. I have them, I distribute them. Contact me if that's something you want more information about. And stick with some probiotics to help support that intestinal flora. That's going to help significantly. Have it be at least 10 billion. Make sure you move after a meal. Don't just sit there. Go move for 10 minutes. Go walk up and down the stairs a few times. Ideally, 30 to 60 minutes a day workout is fantastic. More importantly, after you eat, never lie down. Just don't do it, because then the acid is all going to be shifting another direction, and it's not. Let gravity help keep that acid down. Make sure, what's going to help the most is daily meditation, exercise, any stress, anything to get rid of stress, yoga, any of these things is going to help significantly, and make sure you get enough sleep. So that is a lot of information packed into a lot of little time. It's not a lot. It's 10 minutes, but as always, good luck. And if you have questions, reach out to me. I'll do the best I can to steer you in some sort of direction. And I can't wait to help you on your road to getting to a healthier you. Have a great day, guys, and we'll see you again soon.